We're out here at the farmers market today. We want to get you to know the vendors or whatever, have an idea what they do, where they come from, what all they do, what got them in the market or whatever. We call this lady the Chick Lady, but I found out her name is really Amy.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about yourself, what all you've done and what got you to this point, and you going to make $1 million in this, or what your goals are.
Well, that's the goal, at least. I got in the chicken business a few years ago when my dad wanted to start chickens, and then I really started as a kid raising chickens and being exposed really early on, but I never really got an opportunity until the last few years. And when we started, I just fell in love, and it
now,
just
do you buy your chicks? You got incubators, or what all?
Well, we started buying chicks, and we had a couple of one of those cheapy incubators for a while, and that didn't really work out. So we invested in and got a big tall cabinet, and so now we're producing chicks like every 3 days. So we got a couple of them here that just hatched. This guy hatched maybe 2 days ago, and a couple more that hatched just last night. But we've been building our flock, and we've had predator problems and everything else. We figured out how to build the cages to protect them, and we run across our yard we put wheels on them, and so every day they get fresh grass. And
well, it sounds like you're telling the same story about me and bees or whatever. I got bees, and I always tell people if they're interested in getting into bees, is your best day in the bee business or in the chick business, whatever, is your first day when you got this plan and dream and you think this is going to be easy, and then you started mentioning about the predator problems, with all the hawks,
Yeah.
the coons and possums, snakes and stuff like that, And so it seemed like it's a battle, and it's kind of like that's what creates you to, I'm going to outdo this. I'm not going to let that animal win,
Yeah, well, not going to let it stop me either.
And I used to tell people about when you buy a chick, your only job in life is to keep it alive. Its goal is to die on you. Whether it does it naturally or disease or an animal.
Yep, and so with that in mind, we got breeds that are what they call dual purpose. So they're good for eggs, they're good for meat. These guys their general egg laying span is about the first 3 years of their life. They give you the most eggs for your buck that you spend in their food and their feed and everything. And we make sure to give them fresh herbs for their immune system. We also do a red pepper flake, which boosts their blood production, their egg production. So they end up with really healthy looking combs, and they are just energized as all get out. So they're very, very healthy. And of course, battling the heat is going to take its toll, but we make sure to keep them covered all the time, make sure they got plenty of shade, water, cool water. And with the drought and everything, we end up having to buy cabbage and lettuce to supplement their feed, especially if the grass doesn't grow as quickly as possible. They do lay a lot of fertilizer, so as long as we got plenty of water to make sure the grass grows, then it works. And we had so much fertilizer the last few years that this past winter we kept the water running on our yard. We had green grass all winter long, and everywhere else was brown and prickly dead from the cold weather, but our grass just exploded in growth. So chicken fertilizer is really, really good for your yard. And
so it sounded like my grandpa used to tell me, with all this drought like going on and all the manure out there in pasture, whether it's from the cows or the chickens or whatever, he referred to that as a turd floating rain. So we're looking forward to a turd floating rain here before long.
Yeah. But I do run the sprinkler. I get the water in there as much as I can, and when it breaks down, it's really healthy for the birds too, to get as much natural stuff as possible.
Is chickens the main thing you do, or you got?
Oh yeah, we do mainly chickens. We've tried guineas before for they're more for like alarm dogs of the chicken world. And we've tried turkeys as well, and we're trying to expand into that. We're just a little crunched for time and space right now. We only have so much land to work with. But
thing you do, or you got?
Oh yeah, we do mainly chickens. We've tried guineas before for they're more for like alarm dogs of the chicken world. And we've tried turkeys as well, and we're trying to expand into that. We're just a little crunched for time and space right now. We only have so much land to work with. But we're hoping to expand that real soon here and really boost the production.
Hopefully this market's working out for you.
Well, I got 400 birds, and they keep coming. So
if you got any thoughts or plans on what we can do better at the market, we're always looking for improvements.
Oh yeah, and the more people, the better. And yeah, it's especially with the summers getting hot, but the weather's gonna start to break soon, and So we got more space and
You want
availability,
to pet
and
him?
if anything, right now the weather is doing perfect for
Is
the
he
chicks.
fluffy?
They absolutely love this kind of weather. So having them out when
He's
it's warm
soft,
like
ain't he?
this is actually really good. You don't need a heat lamp or supplement heat in any way, shape, or form. And they just kind of chill out, have a good time, and very energized. They mature in 6 months, so it doesn't take them that long at all to start to produce eggs for you.
Well, it reminds me of a time when my neighbor had a setting chicken, and she phoned me and wanted some fertile eggs. And so I didn't have any fertile eggs, and so I had a guinea that had a nest full of eggs. So I ran out of them guinea eggs up and sent them down to her, kept my mouth shut, never said nothing. And then they got to noticing how fast these little birds was whenever they was hatched, you know. And it took them about 4 weeks before they figured out that it wasn't chicks that I'd sit down there. So she still reminds me of this day of that little situation. You know?
Yeah, and it's actually surprising, even though chickens can't fly because of their body weight to their wingspan, they jump, and they're very fast runners. Maybe not as fast as guineas.
Now,
but,
when I was a kid, I can prove you wrong on that. I used to go to the Holland Corn Festival, and I had for like 4 or 5 years, I had the highest flying chicken, like 180 feet. One time, one laid an egg in midair and hit a lady right in the head. And there was thousands of people down the street. They push it out of this mailbox and let it fly down the middle of the street, you know. And of course, then all the kids, of course, that was game type chicken, so that's a little different deal than the egg layers and stuff like that, you know. But we had a lot of fun at it when I was a kid.
We had a test with a couple of pheasants too, and unfortunately pheasants fly and they flew away. So we're happy and contented right now to start with chickens and see where this goes. And this right here is a black copper Moran. He's got feathered feet. These guys will lay the chocolate colored eggs. We also have Americanas, which, if I can bring one up here, calm down. These guys, we specialize in the silver Americanas. They've got beautiful white colored, silver colored feathers as well. They got the cheeks and the beard, blue legs. And these guys have feathered feet, which is unusual. That seems to be coming up with their genetics. But these guys will lay blue colored eggs, and we want to run an experiment and crossbreed eventually an Americana with a black copper. And a woman down in Florida managed to do that and created a chicken that laid cobalt blue eggs. And so it's a novelty, but it's absolutely wonderful to try and see. And chickens are absolutely amazing. They've got 72 chromosomes, so they do extremely well if they're injured or sick. They come right back, and especially when you keep them healthy with herbs and varied diet. They're actually opportunistic omnivores. So they'll eat anything and everything, except maybe citrus and avocado, obviously. But these guys will eat your leftovers if it goes bad. Anything that's molding, they'll eat up, and they'll give it to you back with fresh eggs. And at the end of 3 years, after they've laid the maximum amount of eggs, you harvest them for their meat. And boy, when they say dark meat, they aren't kidding. I harvest one of these guys, and compared to store-bought eggs, the meat, it was like you get the white meat and pale pink for the dark meat in the store. These guys were like pale pink meat for the white and like vibrant purple for dark meat.
That's one thing a lot of the city people is buying stuff out of the store. They usually like to compare the farmer's market stuff to the store, and it's not. It's going to be a little darker and stuff like that. It's got more nutrition and stuff, and it's grown slower. A lot of the stuff in the store is grown really fast and pumping lots of protein and feed into them, you know.
And they're not, and then they don't get a varied diet. They don't get the healthy herbs necessary for them to have a balanced diet and to give you the nutrition necessary. But especially with the eggs, I am spoiled. I will never go to a store ever again for eggs. I get my own, and the eggs are. I've seen eggs as dark as orange colored. I would crack them open and they're orange and they taste delicious. They're the most.
And that's one thing, a lot of the eggs here at the market still got the bloom on there. You know, we was talking a little earlier here about using lime. You can store an egg up to about a year and a half without any doubt.
And I've tested that. I've had five-gallon buckets filled with eggs with the lime water. Ate them 2 years later, just as good, maybe a little structurally damaged, so they're good for more like baking and scrambled eggs. But absolutely delicious, just as fresh as when they laid them 2 years prior. So
And as you can see, the chick lady doesn't mind being, informational. If you want to come by and visit with her, she'll give you all advice. I think she's even got a little package of sacks of feed, and you can buy the chicks, and she'll sell you the feed so that you won't go home and wonder where am I going to get feed until Monday. And
Yes.
so she's more than happy to talk to you about all the different ins
and
and outs.
you're welcome to come to the farm too, see our operation, see how we treat our chicks, and run them across the yard, so you can probably set up your own system the same way. And when you have a good system set up, feed, water, and shelter for them, come by and pick them up anytime. I live on the farm, so anytime. I know we're here on Saturdays with the farmers market, but if you need it in the middle of the week, you're welcome to as well.
Well, we appreciate you talking to us today and informing us some of that stuff. We'll come
Sure.
back.